Hello again. I had to change the wrong. I was in the wrong. What's it called? Stream key? I hope that didn't make another instance on YouTube. That'd be annoying. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hi again. I had to change something. I'm sorry. I was streaming in the previous stream. Yeah, we're back. I had to fix something. I'm such a professional. Let me look at my thing. Oh no, it was 8 minutes. I'm looking at my YouTube thing and it saved it as a different VOD and I'm like, oh no. Well, now I have an 8-minute VOD of like 5 minutes where it's just a loading screen and then the rest is just hi. Let me just unlist that because I messed up. It's in the wrong category too. There, I unlisted it. It doesn't exist anymore. We don't have to think. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Am I sitting here with no BGM? Ooh, you know what I should do? I should change up my BGM actually. Hold up. Yeah, I'm a professional, guys. I've been doing this for so long. I had the revelation in the shower the other day. Well, not the other day, but like literally like 15 minutes ago. Not this one. Where is my Halloween music? It's the only one I get to play during Halloween. Okay, guys, we have options. 4 options. We have this one. Actually, it's kind of quiet. I can't hear it. Bouncy. This one. We have this one. Actually, I have a lot of Halloween music. This one. I don't know, I feel like it's a little too offbeat and it's kind of distracting. I have this one. Which honestly sounds the exact same as the previous one, just a little bit different. And then we have... What am I playing right now? Oh no, it's the same one. Oh. This one. Ooh. I like this one. I think I'll just go with this one. Or I'll go with this one. This one just kind of funny. What is this one? Actually, I don't know. We'll just leave it as like something. This. I feel like I'm in a... I feel like I'm in like a video game. Like one of those, like those sim... Yippee! Hello! Thank you for the resub for 5 months. Yeah, the ghost said bleh. I have a lot of these little ghosts. I can add more. Wait. Where's my spooky ghost? I have this one. And I have this one. There. They will just be there. This guy doesn't move. Hello, the Dapper Dragon. Welcome. Hello. How are you? We're just vibing with my little ghost friends. Chilling. Yeah. If you saw my previous 8-minute stream that I had to end and restart again, no you didn't. Anyways, how are you? How are you doing? What you up to? Today we are going to be just chatting and talking about fanfic tropes. But in the meanwhile, I had a revelation in the shower. I was having shower thoughts. I was like, I think this is the longest I've ever committed to anything, like streaming in general. I think this is the longest I've ever committed to a project in my entire life. Like, at all. So, I was like, damn, what's wrong with me? What stream was that 8 minutes? Oh, just now. Like, 5 minutes ago. A little bit ago. Yeah. I'm right, bit tired. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what time it is for you, but for me, it's like almost midnight. Almost midnight, so that's fine. I feel like it's always like a sleepy kind of mood. Also, with the weather getting a little bit, what's it called? Colder. The weather's been getting colder. You know, it's like sock season. It's sweater weather. It's the type of weather that really dries out your skin, which is really sad because I'm like, ugh. I like winter, I like fall because of the colder weather, and it's really nice. But at the same time, I really don't enjoy how dry it gets. Cause then it's like, I get more nosebleeds, and I get, like, my hands feel crunchy. Cause like, they just feel so dry all the time. Like, you know, when your skin is dry, and it feels just kind of like, weirdly tight. That's how I feel when my hands like, you know, dry. Meanwhile, as a Florida man, fall is the wet season? Really? I know in some areas around the world it's like hurricane season. Like, I saw in the news, I think Jamaica's having a really bad hurricane. And it's like, oof. I hope they're okay. I know, like, hurricanes are crazy. But, yeah. Like, fall, summer, hurricane season for, like, a lot of places around the world that are by the coast. Pretty crazy. Personally, I've been through like maybe one hurricane in the past and like a lot of tornadoes. Like, tornadoes are very common. But I've never actually seen one in person. We just had tornado drills all the time growing up. I don't know why. Actually, no, yeah. We did have, yeah. I'm thinking about it. We did have one hurricane that passed by that turned into like a tornado-ish. And I remember having to like go down to the first floor of the house, stand in the middle of the room, and then listen to like the window shake as the wind was like It was crazy. Like the wind was super like bad, and then the rain and the lightning and the thunder, and we're all like, whoa, that's crazy. And then the roof was like shaking. We were okay. I think like a bunch of trees fell over, and then like the deck slash porch fell over. It like completely broke, and like a lot of things were damaged, but that's how it goes. Also, I lived in like a really cold place for a period of time, and oh my god, one time it snowed really bad. Like, I'm talking 3 feet of snow, and a lot of things broke. Like power lines from the freezing rain, trees were falling over because of the weight, and just snow blocking all the roads, causing a bunch of accidents. Don't live in places with snow. I know some people are like, oh my god, I love the snow. I love the winter. As somebody who's lived there, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. But yeah, I was thinking like, I think this is the longest time I've ever done something. Because in the past, I've done a lot of hobbies. I've done a lot of different things. And all of them I've just stopped doing. I mean, maybe with the exception of like music or art. But anything else, like in general, like other hobbies, I just quit them all over the years. I don't know. I didn't like them. I didn't find anything that I like actually liked. Snow is so much fun. It is fun to play in. It's nice. It's not fun 6 days later when the snow turns to slush and it's the color of like dark gray and it's dirty and it's mixed with gas from the road and gravel and bits of things, and it's all disgusting and half melted, and then it freezes again because the temperature, you know, when it snows the temperature drops, and then when it gets cold again it freezes into ice, and then you have to walk across the sidewalk because nobody bothers to shovel. You gotta walk across the sidewalk frozen. Hello Maddie TP, thank you for the follow. I miss snow, I miss the cold, I miss Alaska. Why would you miss Alaska? That's cold as hell. That's super cold. Doesn't Alaska get to like -30, -40? I think snow is fun the first day, just not the rest of the days. Yeah. I have seen, like, I think, not Alaska. Was it Alaska? The North Pole, I think. There was a scientist who was talking about, I remember watching a nature documentary. They were studying penguins in the North Pole. And they were like, oh, in order to go outside, even for like a quick second, even for just a little bit, I have to put on like 5 layers. And then he was showing like all the different things that he had to put on. He was like, I put on my thermal underwear, and then I put on my like thermal underpants, my thermal like leggings, my thermal undershirt that's like long sleeve, and then like 3 wool sweaters, then the winter jacket, and then a windbreaker on top of it, and then like, you know, wool pants, and then snow pants. Sounds like an article. Also, big baby, 2 or 3 layers is enough. No, like I was like, I wear like 5 layers of socks. I was like, oh, that's a lot. Listen, if the temperature gets to -55, that's pretty cold. Frostbite is not a joke. I guess snow is fun until there's 9 inches of snow on Tuesday, then it's randomly 68 on Wednesday and February, then back to single digits by Thursday. Yeah. That's how it is when you live in the north. It used to be like, my god, I remember when I was in school having to walk to school in the snow and then watching the news and being like, please, are they gonna cancel school? And then the one time we had this super bad snow is the year that they finally canceled school, and we were all like, yeah. I've lived in 2 different places. Well, a couple different places around the world, but it's so funny going from a place that's not equipped for the snow, where it's like, if it gets even a little sprinkling of snow, they cancel school for a week because they never get snow. When it snows, it's rare. But then you go to a place over in the north where it snows all the time, and then they're like, ah, yes, 1 foot of snow, walk to school. You're still going to school. 3 feet of snow, they'll cancel it. The only reason they canceled it is because it broke a lot of things. Also, thank you. Hello, Maddie TV. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the Prime sub. Hello. How are you doing? Texas gets 1 inch of snow and the entire state is shut down. Not even 1 inch. It's like half an inch. And I get it. I guess it's because of like, I guess it's like, what's it called? Like black ice. They were more concerned about black ice than the snow, but because nobody has snow tires, and then the snow and the ice, it causes like slipperiness, and they didn't want accidents, so they just kind of shut down the entire city. Like, a bunch of businesses were closed, a bunch of schools were closed, a bunch of things were just down. Because they didn't want people getting into accidents. How did stats go? Stats went well. I got a tutor. I got an actual tutor. From my school. So if I wanted to, like, reach out, it's like, it's not a consistent tutor, it's like a tutoring program essentially. So how it works is that if you go to like this website and then you can request a tutor for a topic that you're interested in doing. Like, let's say that you want to study math, and then you choose your subject, statistics, and then you upload what you want to talk about or what you want to like learn about, and then they just match you with a tutor, and that's how it works. So it's been pretty good. I've had like, I just kind of upload the questions that I have trouble with, and then they help with it and they walk you through the questions. So that's pretty nice. To be fair, Texas is just itching to shut down. They get 2 inches of rain, shut the state down, panic. Really? I was in Texas like, how long ago was it? In July? June? I was there for a con. I was in Texas and there was a pretty bad flood going on in one of the side cities. And they were doing okay. I mean, I don't know how bad the flooding was, but I heard in the news that it was like bad. In the place I live now, there's like these big storm drains, and I don't know how much they help, because when it does rain, the drainage isn't that great. So maybe it's just city infrastructure. Have you ever thought about trying Minecraft speedrunning? Fun fact about that, the first time I've ever beat the Ender Dragon was last week on Saturday. I've never beat the Ender Dragon before then. And the only reason I beat the Ender Dragon is because I was playing on co-op with a bunch of other people. So, if you wanted to know about my Minecraft skills, there you go. And then again, there was when I was when I was there a few years ago, they were pretty gungy. Then again, like I said, Florida man, so anything short of full-scale flood is a drizzle to me. Were you there for the really bad hurricane last year? I heard about that. Actually, you might not live in the area where it was at. To be fair, Florida gets hit with hurricanes like every year. It's like, hurricane again. It's easier if you learn strats. True. I mean, it's just like bring a bow, right? Like if you bring a bow and then you hit the stars to prevent the dragon from regenerating, and then you kill it with beds. Really? Don't you risk being blown up yourself? Unless you have like special armor. I went down there with a really powerful bow, regular arrows, and regular diamond armor. It was great. If you stand under the bed, you don't really take damage. How do you do that? How do you stand under a bed? I don't know. I'm not professional at Minecraft enough to understand how to do these things. I think I'd kill myself first. We call anything smaller than a cat to Reen with the name? Really? I can't imagine. I like rain. Not that much. I was in Korea for hurricane season. And it was, when they say the rain gets torrential, it's torrential. Every afternoon, almost every afternoon. You go outside, it is pouring. But it's fine. They have pretty good drainage. But do not wear running shoes during hurricane season because your shoes get soaked. You place it on top of the end fountain and stand in the fountain. Doesn't the fountain teleport you though? Doesn't the fountain teleport you back home? We used to go to the local grocery store to get hurricane cakes for hurricane parties. Had a surreal thing Floridians do. What? What the heck? That's wild. I don't... What kind of Florida man thing is this? It's the reason why Florida people have, like, weird reputations. Only after you kill it? Oh. See, I've only been in the end once. And that's it. So I don't know. I really don't know. I forgot what I was going to talk about. I was like, I should write down my topics, and then I forget to do that. Hold up. I hate doing anything with this microphone because everything's so loud. Oh, links I blocked. But it's okay. I will say you're doing better than me. I've never been to the end. Yeah. I'm not really interested in beating Minecraft in general. I'm actually more interested in building. Actually, exploration. I've always really enjoyed running around in Minecraft, traveling really, really far away, seeing all the different biomes, collecting things, opening chests, and then just being lost in general. I will never put down a base, or even if I do put down a base, it's a very minimal one. If I'm creative, I will build. I will do like really cool builds. But if I'm in survival, I will just run for miles. You'll never see me again. I will just keep traveling and like a nomad. I'll just pick up everything that I find and I'll just keep going. You know that meme of like the guy running from like, I forgot what game it was. It was just a guy just like running for his life, just traveling. That's me. Me like 2 minutes into the game, just going woo. The Skyrim running time lapse? Yeah, that one. I'm more of a boss fighter, so I gravitate towards Terraria. I don't like getting lost. Really? It's not lost if you don't have a destination. I've never actually played Terraria, so I don't know what it's like. I'm always stuck building when I play Minecraft, but building is part of Minecraft. When I play Minecraft, and I play Minecraft with friends, I'm always the one organizing storage. I feel like I spend 4 hours just coming up with a storage system and organizing chests. Every single time, it's always like, I need to do something. You know what I should do? Organize chests. I make a bunch of those photo frames. I make photo frames. I put items in the photo frames. I put it on the chest. And I just organize. For hours. But in the long run, it does make it easy to find stuff, so it's great. You do end up with like... Every single time you start a run of Minecraft, it's like... Wow. I have so much dirt. Just chests full of dirt. What am I gonna do with all this dirt? Because from terraforming, you just end up with a bunch of dirt and stone, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? So we end up with a huge chunk of dirt. It's fun, you can get so overpowered by the end, and in my opinion, building is better than Minecraft. Because there's more decorations and useless items. Cool! I've never played. To be fair, I've always liked open world a lot better than 2D side-scroller, so... With the exception of like old RPGs, because I've always liked really old RPGs. Like the JRPGs. The old MMO JRPGs, those are really fun. I have a mountain base, and under that a prison is in the mountain base with train network. Ooh, fun. Gotta go have fun. See you, Maddie. Good night. Thank you for stopping by. My voice is dying. I also serve my chest, have a storage in the game, expanding it. Nice! My friends keep starting new worlds. Like, we have a modded Minecraft game, and then we switch over to a different mod, and then we switch over to a different mod, and it's like, man, I start building things. I start building things, and it's like, and then we start a new mod, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sad, all my stuff is gone. I gotta start all over. Hi, Belle! Hello, I'm really happy to hear your voice again after a while. Yeah! Welcome, hello, how are you? I can't wait for the Terraria Craft mod. Ooh. Interesting. The interesting thing about Minecraft is that like you can you can pretty much put a mod on anything. Minecraft is one of those games where it just can become whatever you want it to be. If you wanted to play and turn Minecraft into a horror game, you could. If you wanted to turn Minecraft into an escape game, you can. Did you know that there's Minecraft escape rooms? They're really cool. they're like command block coded, so it's like, okay, you are like, for example, let's say you're stuck in a prison or a haunted house in a room, and you're like, okay, the door is locked. What do? I go and I look for a key, and then there's like a chest, and you click on things, and then it gives you a key, and then you use the key on something else. And they're really cool. They're really, really cool modded, because it'll use things like taking specific items and placing them where they're supposed to go, or typing in chat the passcode, or writing on signs, or like putting things in chests to trigger different things. And it's just a series of puzzles that you get to do, and they're really, really fun. There's a couple that are on, I think, what's that Minecraft Eternal MC or whatever? I don't know what's called. Minecraft World something. There's a website where people put their mods up and people can download the maps to play. They're really fun. The only experience I have with like some of those worlds is like testing out like I've tried a couple of those escape game mods. They're really fun. Other times I just play with friends. They're kind of fun to do with not just escape worlds, but those RPG adventure ones. There's one that I did that like made an entire RPG system. It's like a single player RPG world with a full crafted background and everything. It's crazy. They have like full system mechanics with like mobs, weapons, dungeons, all of that. It's really crazy. I downloaded it and I was like, oh, wow. This thing just goes for miles. The map is huge. I can't even play Skyrim without trying to sort my items. I know the feeling. Half the mods you get are from museum houses, destroy everything and display them. Ooh. I've actually never played Skyrim with mods. I know people are like, oh, you should play Skyrim with mods, it makes it more fun. I don't know, I like my Skyrim vanilla. I like my Skyrim just plain. I've never had a problem with it. They're like, oh, if you play Minecraft with mods, it makes it run more smoothly. Sorry, Skyrim. Honestly, I think the game is pretty good on its own. I like it. I think it's fun. I've actually never finished the game. I'm still playing it. Haven't gone anywhere. I think I'm like 30% into the story. I have no idea. I beat Parthenax for the first time. Wait, not Parthenax. Alduin. Parthenax is the good guy. Parthenax is like your chill grandpa who's like, hey, I need you to go kill the evil dragon. Yeah. I don't either unless one of a kill squad. Ooh. Anyways, we should get into the fanfic sorting. We've yapped long enough. It is time to yap about fan fiction for 2 hours. Okay. Here I am. I'm kind of blocking some of it, but that's fine. Yeah, fanfics. Okay. I'm blocking it with my head, but it says do not want. This blue thing. Yeah. Let me move my screen down over here. And uh-oh. Never mind. Where'd it go? There we go. Bringing it back. I found this very fitting considering that I have been reading fanfic the past week. I've been really into reading fanfic. I cycle through my hobbies cyclically. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read manga now. Never mind. I'm gonna read like webtoons, and then next time I'm gonna get really into, like, I don't know, drawing, and now I'm gonna read fanfic. So, you know, it's different. Last time I came to your stream, I swore I'd do more fanfics, and I've just been stuck roleplaying with AI bots. Ooh, what? I mean, whatever you want to do, if that's what you find fun. I don't know. My experience with, like, talking to chatbots is talking Angela, and then from then on, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'd ever want to do that ever again. Not for me, no. Anyways, okay. So we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories. It has favorites, generally enjoy, occasionally, depends on execution, neutral, not applicable, unfamiliar with, and do not want. I have looked through this list, and to be honest, a lot of these are stuff that I generally read. I'm not really picky with my categories, honestly. If it's well written and it's, like, fleshed out and the characters are interesting and the dynamics are interesting, I'll just read anything. I'm not picky. Keeps my writing sharp, but I don't produce anything. Yeah, if you want to write for yourself, there's no shame in that. I think it's good to have things that you want to do for yourself. I don't think, like, not everybody always says stuff about, like, oh, you should make things to create, to post online, you should do things. But, like, if you're gonna do something, just do it for yourself. That's all that matters. What's good? What we're doing? We are sorting fanfic tropes. We're gonna be talking about fanfics for the better part of, like, 2 hours. Maybe. We'll be talking about different topics in between, probably. Knowing myself, I tend to get off topic a lot. I don't know. I guess we'll go in order. Are we doing a tier list? Yes, we are. We're ranking fanfic tropes. Yes. So, in general, how I like to read fanfics is that I will kind of pick a tag. Like, I will do a reverse part of a fandom search. So I will pick a tag that I'm interested in. Like, let's say I want to read a story about modern with magic. I want to read a story about magic. So then I will go select on the tags, modern with magic, and then I will just search everything under that tag. Anything that includes that tag, it'll show. So then I go down to the fanfic list, like the categories, and I'll be like, okay, exclude this fandom, this fandom, this fandom, this fandom, whatever fandom they're not interested in. And then I will look through the relationships tags and I'll exclude all that. And I'll go to, like, the warnings, general warnings tags. If it's like, oh, explicit, you know, general, teen, underage, whatever, I'll exclude the ones that I don't want to see either. And then I'll just kind of look through all the lists, and I'll, like, exclude other extra tags, like PWP or, like, whatever. So whatever I'm not interested in, I'll just exclude, and then I just sort. I just scroll through the entire list of the things that include it. I'll read the summaries, and the ones that sound interesting, I'll just read, like, the first paragraph of, and I'm like, oh, sounds interesting, and I just keep reading it. That's how I find fanfics. I don't sort by character, I don't sort by fandom, it's just by tags. Just whatever I feel like reading. Like, I'm going to a library and I'm like, oh, I want to go to the mystery section. I'm gonna go like a mystery. Yeah. That's what I do. I found some really good fics that way, actually. Like, there's a really nice horror fic. Like, not even the whole, like, ooh, I'm dating a spooky ghost, but, like, they are a paranormal investigator, and then they're, like, a really good horror writer at the same time. I'm like, wow, I love horror. I love horror in my fics. Anyways, first trope, 5+1 things. 5+1 things is essentially like 5 times person does this, and then the last one, the +1 is when they finally do that. So it's like, for example, 5 times Kyo forgets to drink water and the 1 time she did. That's essentially what 5+1 is. I don't go out of my way to search for this tag. It tends to be included in a lot of the rest of these tags, so it's like, I'll read it. They just tend to be really short. They're like really quick one-shots when they write these things. A very short fics. I prefer long fics, honestly. I prefer fics that are super detailed, in a way. Or not detailed, but like, I like things with over a 50,000 word count. The longest fic I've ever read was 200,000 words. That thing was a novel. It was great. I was reading that thing for 2 weeks. And it was a, I remember the plot still. It was an RPG fic where a character, like, imagine SAO. So they were beta testing a game and then they woke up in the game. And it was just this whole plot about like defeating the Demon King and going on like, oh, great hero, you must defeat the great Demon King, whatever. And then there was like whole like plot level dynamics to it because they were still in the game. And it was really, really cool. It was great. And then they wake up in the real world and they're like, oh my god, it was all a game. Yeah. And then the person that they were with, they were like, oh my god, I thought they were an NPC. I thought they were a thing. No, plot twist. They were actually also another player too, but they didn't know. Ooh, dun dun dun. Yeah, it was really, really good. Also, next. ABO dynamics. Honestly, it depends on execution. I'm not one to like go out of my way to look for ABO. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about ABO, because like, I think it can be good if it's done well, but I see it all the time in manga, and it just turns into like, wow, how can we make sexism for men? How do we introduce sexism but for men? And it's fine. I think it's great if you want power dynamics and stuff, but I just, every single time I see that and I see it like poorly done, I'm reminded of this one like book talk thing I saw somebody talking about where they're like, oh, they're doing Omega verse but for straight people. And it's like, she was an Omega, she's petite, and the alpha dom daddy, whatever business CEO. And it's just like, that's just heterosexuality. What are you talking about? What do you mean that she's like, oh, she's a petite little Omega? She's a girl. She doesn't, what does it mean to be an Omega and you're a lady? The only part about ABO that I really enjoy is if it's like unusual dynamics. Like, I really don't like pairings of alpha and omega. I like beta beta, omega omega, or alpha and alpha. Like, I don't really like the traditional ABO because of how, like, if you can remove all the aspects of ABO from a fic or from a general story, even in manga, and it's just AO, and it's the exact same story, then why are you having it in an ABO universe in the first place, right? Like, sure, you can write about the whole discrimination that Omegas face and all that, but something that's done with like an unusual dynamic is what I usually prefer. Because I like things that put a twist on stuff. I like things that are not the norm, I guess. I have weird tastes. I've been enjoying reverse isekai as a trope lately, something about taking the Demon King and putting him in a retail job. Oh, have you watched the anime called The Devil is a Part-Timer? If you like that trope, I think you would like that anime. It's really funny. I think it's like Mao-sama no something, the Japanese title, but it's really good. I recommend it. Or what? The Demon King Goes on Vacation or something like that. The Demon King Goes on Vacation was, I think, an anime that came out last year. That one's also pretty nice. It's like a really nice short one-shot. Or another one that reminds me of, it's not exactly reverse isekai, it's just like a chill slice of life, demon focused like genre. I forgot the name. It's like Hoseki then something. I forgot the name. It's I can tell you the plot. I don't remember the name. I just know what he looks like. He's like the demon world, the demon lord of the underworld. Actually, Overlord is pretty good too. He's like the demon lord of the underworld. He's got like black, kind of like chin length hair in a middle part, and he's got like demon horns, like really short ones, and he's usually dressed in like a kimono, like a red kimono. And the whole, essentially the whole anime is like a really slice of life thing with like a really interesting art style, but he's got like these demon under subordinates, and they have different layers of hell. So it's like a mix of like Dante's Inferno with like the other type of hell, and he just kind of goes around and tries to deal with like the issues that pop up with the demon subordinates, and it's very cute. And then once in a while he's just kind of like, he's basically like an overworked salaryman. He's like, oh, I hate my job. I just want to go and do the things that I like, but things just keep happening. But it's really nice. I forgot the name. I think if you go to like my anime list and you look at things related to Natsume Yuujinjo, you'll probably find it. It came out in like 2016 or something, a really, really long time ago. Anyways, age gap relationships. I do not enjoy age gap relationships. I'm okay with it if it's like a 35-year-old man and like a 10,000-year-old god, because then they're both like old. But like if it's a 6-year-old with like a 20-year-old, and then the 6-year-old grows up, and then the 20-year-old's like 30, and then the 6-year-old's like 26, then that's weird, because it's like, okay, that's like essentially grooming and I don't like that. So usually age gap relationships, I don't usually like it. I don't remember. I read something similar to that recently. It was a hero working in a gas station, and her overworked demon king nemesis both decided to go on vacation. Ooh, cool. I don't think I've heard of that one. I've seen something similar. I think it was not written by a Japanese author, but it was written by like an indie kind of like manga artist, where it was like, the title was really long. It was something along the lines of, my eldritch horror coworker at my part-time job keeps wanting to eat me, or something like that. It was like a really short manga that was like a Twitter thread. It was pretty good, honestly. I think it was interesting. It was like, she's like an eldritch horror, and she has the ability to change forms into whatever she wants. I think that's Merryweather. Is it? I don't think so. Is it? Wait, let me look it up. My coworker is an eldritch. Who's the author? No, the author is Senukin. It's a self-published manga. No, it's not Merryweather. It's Senukin. I remember seeing that on Twitter. No, it's not Merryweather. Merryweather does like other things. Anyways, next. Age regression. I don't go out of my way to read that, so honestly, I'm not really familiar with it because that's not something that I'm interested in. Things that have to do with age, I think, is just I don't really read. Like aged up, also not really familiar with. I don't read that either. Not that it's like whatever. For age regression, I think it can be good for fan art. Like I see this a lot in manga, where the artist will draw the character with the normal, like they'll do like, let's say it's a ship, right? It'd be like pairing A and pairing B, or like pairing A, pairing character A, character B. They'll draw character B with like a baby version of character A, or like, and then they'll do the swap. They'll be like, oh, character A with like a baby version of character B, especially if they had a really different personality when they were a kid. I think that's a common thing to see in manga and in like really short panels in like art. But fanfics in particular, I don't think I've ever read anything like it. Unless it was one of those like, one day I woke up and I found, like, you know those fics where it's like they woke up and then suddenly like the 10-year-old version of their future self is like next to them, or they wake up in the future. I think that can be good. I like it. I just don't read it that often because it's really rare for me. Like the whole, imagine like, especially if it's a really long fandom, right? Like a fandom that takes place over a series of time, where it's like at the very beginning when the protagonist was really naive, and then suddenly they like, that version of themselves gets transported into the future where the fandom's currently at, and how they would react to the current situation and all their comrades and like their friends and everybody around them, and what's changed. And everybody that they're with is like older, and they're like, oh my gosh, this person's such a baby, they don't know anything, it's so cool. Like I see that happen in fanfics. Or it's like, I guess the opposite, where they get sent back in time, but I don't know, I think it's more common to see them like in the future. But that's not something I read too often. Ambiguous ending, I don't like. I like happy endings. I don't really like endings that are just like, what happened? The only exception to this, if it's a bad ending and they're like, well, we're gonna leave it up to you if they're alive or dead, and you're like, no. That's a thing they do in fandoms. Not even in, like, I don't like it in my fanfics, but they'll do that to a fandom where it's like, well, are they alive? Are they dead? We'll never know. We're gonna leave it up to interpretation, and we're gonna have it for the audience to decipher. It's like, why? You could have... Actually, there are times when it's good that they leave it on ambiguous ending, because next thing you know, they get renewed for another season, and then they ruin the entire thing. I've seen that happen to like 3 fandoms I've been in. And it's so sad. Because it's like, oh my god, you could have ended it right there and it would have been fine, because everybody else can pick up the pieces and just make their own endings. But no, they had to add another season to the ending and ruin it. They're like, hey, every single thing that you thought we were gonna do, we're gonna throw that in the garbage. Every single character development that we've ever had throughout the entirety of this show, garbage. We're gonna throw that down the drain, and we're gonna give everybody an ending that everybody hates. They did that for Game of Thrones. They did it for Supernatural. They did it for Merlin. They did it for so many different fandoms, and it was like, why? I just remember every single time that happened, people would have crash outs on Twitter. It was great. It was funny. Like, everybody, after that happens, just consensus of just, you know what? No, we're not gonna go with that ending. I'm gonna write my own fanfic. I'm gonna go to sleep. Good night. Everyone have a good rest. Good night, Otakons. Have a good night. Hope you have a good rest. Have sweet dreams, and don't let the sleep paralysis demons get you. Good night. See my little spooky ghosts? Ooh. I don't think they could ever harm anybody. They're really cute. They're really tiny. The most you'd get is like, maybe they'll sit on your face like a cat. You wake up with like the lightest little feather on your face. You're like, oh, little ghost. Cute. Next. Angst with a happy ending. Honestly, occasionally, I don't really go out of my way to look for angst, but if it does happen to be in a fic that I'm interested in, like in the general plot of, I'm okay. I'm talking about the ghosts. The ghost will sit on your face. But yes, the ghost will. A little teeny tiny ghost. Oh, this is like really cute. If you want like the feeling of like a cold tissue, that's what this ghost would feel like if it were to sit on your face. Like take a tissue, stick it in the fridge, and then put it on your face. That message got checked by the automods? Yes, it did. I don't know what's going on with that. You know what I realized? I should add a redeem on Twitch. That's like check-in. I've been thinking of doing that. I think I need to add like a check-in counter, like a points redeem on Mix It Up as well. That'd be nice. Once in a while, I've been checking out other people's streams just to see what they do on their sides and what they do for their own channel point redeems. And they're pretty interesting. I've seen like a couple that are pretty nice that I might want to add to my own. Like an attendance badge, yeah. I can't give you anything, like I can't actually give a badge, but I can do something special. Like if you're, I don't know, if you're here, like if you have 100 points in attendance or something, like maybe you'll get like something. Because I know not everybody can afford subs, right? So having an attendance badge or like something like that would be nice to have. Maybe I'll give like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yes, I've been visiting other people's streams and everybody does something like differently. And it's really, really cute. Really nice. I stopped by this one streamer. Where did I put that picture? Was it on my phone? Wait, one sec. Was it on my phone? These are my CSP settings. Oh, yes, it was. I passed by this one streamer who has like a really, really cute overlay. They have, like, they have two types of check-ins where it's like, I'm here but do not perceive, or like a quiet hello. And then they also have their dailies, their daily check-ins. And then they have like an emote react to like click on in case like you don't want to buy a sub, or like if you don't want to spend your points on like, let's say, unlocking a 24-hour sub badge, or like not sub badge, sorry, an emote. It'll send the emote for you in chat in case you only want to use that one emote. That's pretty cool. Another one, they have these like streamer pets. You know those like, you know how some people have the little creatures that sit on their screen and run around? She has this thing where she can use it and like put it on her model. And then she can like pin it to the top of her head to like sit on her. So you can redeem that. And like they have like one of the little streamer pets sit on her head. It's really, really cute. She has like a custom Discord role. You can like create your own custom Discord role and name and color for 50,000 channel points. That's what she is. And I was like, oh, these are really cute ideas. Maybe I should add those. Because, I don't know, I feel like some people have a lot of points and they don't know what to spend them on. Because I know a lot of mine are pretty low points. I should add more. Maybe things to do. Anyways, angst. I think I'm pretty neutral. Like, I don't go out of my way to look for angst. I don't really like angst. I don't enjoy angst. So I guess I would say like, I don't like angst. It's not nice. Like, it's okay if it's like angst with a happy ending, but if it's just pain constantly, like dark fics, don't like. I once read a dark fic that was like, had every single tag in existence in it that was like horrible. And I still read it and I was like, well, the plot's interesting, I guess. It was one of those things that I was searching for when I was sorting through, I think, what was my search category for that one? I think I was looking for like word count. So that was one of the things with the highest word count. And it was like one of the recently updated ones. And I was looking at it and I was like, well, that sounds interesting. I'll look into it. And it was dark. So when it tells you in the tags and you see everything that's going on, you're like, do I want to read this? And the answer is sure. That's a warning. That's a warning to you that it's going to be dark. Like when it says like, where is it? Dead dove do not eat. They really mean it. Dead dove do not eat. I don't like it. I think it's okay. Like, it's like the same thing with major character death. I don't really like major character death. If there's a tag that says major character death, and it's like a, for example, like a Hanahaki, it's like a Hanahaki AU, or it's like a, what's like the adjacent of the Hanahaki AU, but like where they die, or like one of those things where they've just been dead the entire time, or they kill them off, and it's like, why would you? Why is it so sad? That's what I mean by angst. Like when I'm talking about angst, I don't mean like, oh, they break up and they go through pining for like 10,000 years, and then they get back together, and then they break up again because just they're both self-destructive characters and it's never gonna work out. Maybe in the future, maybe in 10 years, but right now they're just both absolute disasters who refuse to communicate, and it's just insane slow burn. No, I'm talking about like angst. Like there's this one infamous fic that's known for being really, really sad and depressing in the Haikyuu fandom. I forgot the name of it, but essentially it's like one of the characters has this thing called autosomnia, something like disease. Essentially that disease is that you are unable to fall asleep. It's actually a real mental, like, medical condition where you are just physically unable to sleep. And the only way that you live is if they like surgically put you under. So the character had it, and it was like a really slow period of over the course of like 6 months where they just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and they finally just passed away. And it's like, this is just dark. This is just sad. But yeah, for the dark fic that I was talking about, there's this one fic that I was reading that it just dropped because it just got really dark. Honestly, the whole thing was just like torture porn. It was really bad. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, if ever you think that something's gonna happen in this, it's gonna get worse, and it does, and you're like, great. Like, and every single way that you could think of like a person who would be tortured in that fic, it was. And I think it was like something about vampires. It was really weird. It was crazy. I was like, hell no. Animal transformation. I like it. I think it's one of my favorites. Like, not even like the whole like, oh, they get cat ears, nekomimi, stuff like that. But like, when they transform into an animal and then they're like, wow, look at this cool lizard I found. Like that. I like that. Especially if it's like an enemies to lovers type thing. It's really funny to me. Where it's like, man, I hate this guy's guts. Why did I have to run into them of all people? There is this anime that I watched that actually got me into this trope. It's called Tokyo Mew Mew. For some reason, there's like at least 6 different times where she gets transformed into the cat version of herself. And then she ends up running to her crush's house. That's really cute. He's like, oh, I have a pet cat now. And then she like runs away and he's like, oh, my pet cat. I think it's cute. Especially like the moment where they do find out. And they're like, oh my god, the person I've been living with the entire time has been like you, my enemy. You've seen me naked. I like that. It's funny. Arranged marriage depends on education. I think it's okay. It's not something that I specifically look out for either. I don't go out of my way for this. If I see it. This, same thing with like, what, fake dating? I think it's somewhere in here. These are basically the same thing, where it's like, hi, I lied, and I said that we were married when you were just my roommate or whatever, and now we have to pretend that we're together. That's arranged marriage? Actually, no, that's not true. It's not arranged marriage. I'm thinking of a fake dating or something. Fake marriage. No, arranged marriage is like, it's the whole like, I sold you to, what's it? I'm sorry, honey. Your mother is in debt. I have to sell you to BTS or I have to sell you to One Direction. I'm sorry for the debt. I have to sell you to One Direction. That's what arranged marriage gives to me. I don't go out of my way to look for it, actually. I would say that I'm familiar with that one. When I saw arranged marriage, I'm thinking about fake dating. No, the whole arranged marriage where it's like, well, maybe 10,000 years ago you were promised to marry this, like, fate says that you have to marry this stranger. Or like, for the sake of a clan and we're at war, we're gonna have a political marriage. Stuff like that. I've seen stuff like that. It's not something that I would go out of my way for, but depending on execution, I guess it's okay. I like the more traditional arranged marriage, either kingdoms at war and the prince is married to the princess and they hate each other. Yeah, like Romeo and Juliet type stuff, right? The one that I'm more familiar with is like BL tropes, where it's like, I read a manga a while ago. That was the whole, well, 10,000 years ago, I was supposed to marry somebody from your bloodline. So you guys were blessed with spiritual powers, but like, nobody's been able to see me except for people in your bloodline. And then suddenly this person comes by and then you're able to see me. And then you're from that bloodline. And now we have to get married. We have to be like, you're my soulmate, stuff like that. It was cute, actually. It was, he was like a local god. And the character, I guess the main character, was somebody who was studying folklore. He was really, really into folklore and stories. So when the god approached him and he was like actually there for research and he was studying, he's like a whole like otaku about it. He's like a geek. He's like, hell yeah, local stories, I want to learn more. And then the guy's like, the god was really surprised. He was like, what? What do you mean you're not afraid of me? And he's like, tell me all about the history. I want to know the lore. It's really cute. Bang or die, or like the whole, you are locked in a room and you can't leave until you know, bang. I don't really go out of my way for this. I think it's okay. It's more of like a one-shot kind of PWP stuff. I don't really read that. I'm actually more familiar with this in like doujins. Not really fanfics. Although I have read a couple of these that are like, specifically the one fandom in general, it's ORV, because of the whole scenario thing that ORV is known for. But that's really the only scenario I've ever seen these. Or not even just this in general, where they misinterpret it. I think where they misinterpret the plot, where it's just like, you have to talk to each other or else you're going to die. Or not even die, you're just stuck in a room together. Stuff like that. It doesn't even have to be like the category of dying. It's just you are stuck in a room together with each other and you have to be truthful about your feelings. I think I read like a manga about that too. But I've also seen, like, I've just seen scenarios like this for ORV. bed sharing, and there was only one bed. I've actually never read a fic that was where this was the main premise, where this was the main category. Usually this is like a side tag that's looped in with like a lot of other specific like genres, I guess, tags. So like you would see bed sharing in like, let's say, an arranged marriage AU. You would see bed sharing in like one of those fake dating AUs when they go home and visit the family and there's only, oh no, one bed, you guys are supposed to be dating, you're fine with each other, right? I see that. But on its own, I don't really see this. So, bittersweet ending, I think it's the same thing as angst. It's just angst. I think it's okay. I'm trying to think. What would be considered a bittersweet ending? Like, in what universe would a bittersweet ending even occur? Like, what's considered this? I'm trying to think. Maybe in the context of like Silent Hill F. Oh, like the hero dies with the world aside, but that's just angst. That's not even bittersweet. Screw the world, right? And thinking about like in the case of like, let's say in Silent Hill F, maybe the main character gets everything that they wanted at the cost of something else. Like, for example, in like Silent Hill F, I think the main character does get what she wants, but at the cost of like, let's say the world dies. It's like, well, I have everything I've ever wanted, screw the world's ending. Bedtime for me, have a good rest of stream. Thank you, have a good night, Carson. Good night. I will tuck you in. Quack. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything with a bittersweet ending. Usually I read stuff with like a happy ending. I don't think I've ever seen anything with like bittersweet. So I'm not really familiar with that one. Body sharing. Occasionally. I don't think I've actually read anything with body sharing as a fic. I've seen it in a manga and I've seen it in a novel. There's this one novel. Actually, what is that TV show that's popular right now? Where it's like, when you're awake, you're awake. And then when you're asleep, somebody else takes over your body. So you're like co-sharing a body. What's that called? Insidious? Infork? I don't know. I don't know the name. I just know there's like a popular TV show that's ongoing, or season 3 ended. Something like that. I haven't watched it, but I've heard a lot about it. The one that I remember reading for this one was not technically body sharing, but it was like along the lines of like horror, body horror, where the main character, Severance, yes, Severance, that's what it is. That's like body sharing. As a fan of Soul Nomad, body sharing can be hilarious. Yeah, it can. As I said, like occasionally I think I like it, but the only experience I have with it is, I'm trying to remember the novel. Gosh, what is that thing called? I'm trying to remember. So I'm gonna explain to you the plot of the book because I don't remember what it was called. There is a parasite that goes into people's brains and communicates with them as a way of trying to take over their brains. So the ones that are successful completely take over their memories and become that person, but they're no longer that person, they are that parasite. One of the characters kind of forms a relationship with that parasite and they share the body. Does that make sense? I don't know, it's like a book. I forgot the name of it. But also another version of it was I think it was a novel I read, a web novel I read like a year ago, where this dude had a split personality. And he was in love with his split personality. It was really weird. It was interesting. He finds an app on his phone. It's called Supernatural Movie App or something like that. So the dude on his own, he's like the studious type. He's like very serious, very like scholarly. And then the other type, his split personality, is like wild, I guess. He's kind of crazy. And then they kind of work together to like solve all these mysteries throughout the story, and they just goes back and forth. The dude's like a one house like power machine. Honestly, he's kind of cracked. Honestly, the whole thing just reads like a big power fantasy. Hello, how are you doing? We're doing good. I'm trying to remember like the names of the books that I've read in the past, and I can't remember anything. I don't know. I'm having a really hard time remembering things that I've read. Oh my god. Especially when you've read so many books. Guess what? I just got Just Dance 2026. Really? Are you gonna... What is it on? The Switch? Or the PC? How do you do it on the PC? They don't have controllers. I don't know how you do it. Do you buy like an external remote or something? It's on the PC or the Switch? Or is it on the Xbox? Next, body swap. Like your name. I generally enjoy it. I think it's funny. On the Nintendo Switch. Ooh, I wonder what songs are on it. Cause like after 2022, I stopped listening to music on the radio. I stopped listening to music on the radio because I found that once you overplay... Sorry, one sec. I had to sneeze. Once 2022 passed and they kept playing that one song, like I forgot the name. It's like Watermelon Sugar, Hi, Watermelon Sugar. I hate that song. Once they start playing songs like that over and over again on the radio and you don't hear anything different, you know that popular music just kind of sucks. So honestly, I've just stopped listening to the radio after that. I haven't caught up with the latest top 100, not the top 50, not the top 20. I don't care anymore. I just don't like nowadays music. I only listen to indies. I'm like that pretentious person who's like a hipster at the cafe with my matcha tea. I'm like, I don't listen to modern music, tucks hair behind ears. I only listen to alt indie. Because modern music sucks. They put All Star by Smash Mouth and Drip by Baby Monster. Ooh, cool. That's nice. I feel like All Star was in a previous game though. I'm stuck in listening to music from like the 2010s and like 2006 and the 90s and the 80s and the 70s once in a while. Because music back then was so different. Music back then actually had verses. Music back then had stories. They had... Like, I'm talking about, like, top 100 songs back then. Used to have, you know, verse 1, and then verse 2, and then the chorus, and then the verse 3, and then the chorus, and then verse 4. It was different every single time. But then, once they started transitioning into EDM, is when it went downhill, because then they were like, well, instead of verses, we can replace them with these cool, sick EDM drops. And it's like, really? Really? What happened to lyrical, like, prowess? What happened to, like, interesting parts? Nowadays, we all get like, well, this song's good. I hear it all the time on TikTok for the first 30 seconds. And then the rest of the entire song, mumbo jumbo, whatever they throw in, and it doesn't go with the rest of the song. It's like, you wrote this with only that 30 to 15 second bit in mind, and it just repeats twice. And the rest of the song is just mash. I don't know, I don't enjoy it. They put Bluey? What is Bluey? Is that like the dog, the TV show? Maybe they bought the copyrights. Permissions? Bookshop I use. I don't go out of my way for it. I think I like it occasionally. I've actually never watched Bluey. I don't know what that's about. I actually haven't watched any cartoons. I have not got into any new fandoms. Hello, Oyasumi. Welcome. I have not got into any new fandoms at all. Actually, no. Maybe C novels, like SVSS. I think that's the recent one I've gotten into. Like Scum Villain Saving System. That's a C novel. Anything else? I don't think so. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I have. I'm trying really hard to remember, like, all the past media that I've watched or read. That's like a major franchise, not like a small little manga or a small little like anime. I think the last one was like SVSS. Huh. Like, obviously I've done different things in the period of time, like, you know, I've read mangas and I read animes. Not read animes. I've watched animes, I've read mangas, I've read web novels, but they're not large scale fandoms that like everybody knows about. You know, like you could go down to somebody on the street and be like, hey, do you know what Demon Slayer is? And then they'll be like, yeah. But no, the stuff that I read nowadays is stuff that nobody's ever heard about. I should get back into reading horror novels. I miss those. Breakup and Makeup. I don't... Depends on execution, honestly. I don't really like it. Neutral. It's okay. Probably unfamiliar with. I don't go out of my way for it. The thing that drives me most crazy about fanfiction is if they just don't communicate. If they break up and they make up, it's just like, my god. Just want to like punch you guys. You need sense put into you. I mean, according to my parents, they broke up and they made up at least 30 times. So if you want to know like fanfic trope, my parents. My parents have probably the most like crazy fanfic story ever. Why would I read fanfic if it exists in real life? So yeah, that's them. Canon compliant. Depends on execution. I don't really care about canon compliance or canon divergence or anything like that. It doesn't matter to me because I don't even know the fandom in the first place. I read fanfics based off of the story and based off of the writing rather than the actual characters themselves. Unless it's a fandom that I'm also in that I just happen to read. And I'm like, oh, I know that fandom, I'll read it. And then I'll be like, wow, these characters are so horribly out of character. Okay, it's one thing if the character is in character, there's another thing if they're canon compliant. Because it could be like, oh, canon compliant is in it's accurate to the superpowers and the things that happen in the story. Or it'll be like canon divergence where it's like, hey, you know that thing that happened where this character dies? Actually, they didn't. So, honestly, either one, I don't really mind. I don't really pay much attention to that. Unless it's like horribly wrong. And then it bothers me because if the character is super out of character, like let's say there's a character who's known for being like, let's say, what's that guy's name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Joey. No. Justin? Jake? Josh? What's the main character's name of Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I've never watched the show. I've just seen clips. The main character, you know how he's very like happy-go-lucky? He's all like, woohoo! If they made this guy and they turned him into like Shadow the Hedgehog. If they turned him into like Edgelord Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic. And he was all like, oh, I hate crime. And it was like a personality swap. I think it could be interesting. It would just take me out of the story because I'd be like, who is this guy? Like, if I was reading a Sonic fanfiction and the Sonic was like a completely different character, I'd be like, who is this? So that's the only reason I would care about canon, but other than that, whatever. Case fics. I don't know what a case fic is. Is it like a mystery fic? Like, where they're a detective and then they go on like solve murder mysteries, stuff like that? Like the whole when I see case fic, my brain, when I see this one, is I'm thinking about what's it called? What's that show called? Something X. Mystery Files. Mystery Files. Something X. Doctor Who. Something. What's that show called? They're like a YouTubers, like BuzzFeed Unsolved. That's what the name is. BuzzFeed Unsolved, where it's like, hey there, demons, it's me, ya boy. Like, that's what I think of whenever I see these kind of things, where it's like, hey, we're gonna like make an AU based off of BuzzFeed Unsolved, is what I usually see these things of. Or if they're like detectives, like crime AUs. It's the same thing. Crime AUs and case fics. To me, they're pretty much the same thing. Celebrity AUs, also occasionally. I'm actually reading one right now. It's pretty interesting. Honestly, the one that I'm reading right now is so well written that I'm tempted to leave a comment on the fic and be like, author, this is really detailed. Are you okay? It's really depressing. This fic that I'm reading, they go really into the idol industry. It's about like, essentially it's like K-pop idols. The celebrity AU, where they're like an idol / singer. And then you have a character who has PTSD who hates idols, and they kind of like meet. And you find out the reason why he hates idols is because in the past, he was supposed to debut with the group, but then they kept delaying the debut. They kept pushing it back, and all of them were under stress. And they were like, when are we going to debut? We've been spent all these years training. And the different characters had their own like sources of stress. Like you had one person who was there for like 7 years. They're like, I can't waste my life waiting to debut if it's never going to happen, and it keeps getting delayed, and the company on its own is having financial troubles, and it's just like their number one source of income, the most famous idols that were a part of that group, all left, and they sued the company because of mistreatment. And then you have these people who are waiting to debut, and then finally at the very end, all of them die in a car accident, and it's like, oof, that's the reason why he hates idols. It's a very tragic backstory. And then like the way it's written and the way it's like detailed, it's like, I think this person either is really into like K-pop and they just hear so much about training stories that they know about it, or they've been there themselves, because it's just written with such a level of detail that you're like, this is really concerning. I love when authors write about something that they're really into or they like or they're experienced with. I remember it used to be like a thing on Tumblr like a long time ago where they were like, I think authors should write about the thing that they're interested in or the thing that they specialize in more. So you have really weird fics out there that are very oddly specific. Like, I read a fic once that was entirely about traveling circuses. Not even like traveling like circuses, but like traveling amusement parks. You know, the ones that travel to different places around the States? And then they have these amusement rides and the performers and all this stuff, and they pack it all up and they attach it to trailers and they drive on to the next state. Like country fairs that travel. And it was carnivals? Maybe. It was just written with such a level of detail behind the scenes that I remember commenting in the fic and I said, hey, why is this so oddly specific? And they replied to me and they were like, oh, during the summer, I like to go and I used to work at a carnival fair. I used to travel around to different places. We used to go from city to city, traveling with this gang, and then we formed bonds. And I remember, like, you know, making drives over late nights, setting up early in the morning, packing up, traveling again on the road, making really close bonds with your coworkers and making friends and all that. And I'm like, that's really oddly specific, but cool. It's really interesting. And they were like, yeah, I threw in my hobby, I threw in the things that I've experienced with. Or like concerning levels of detail. Like I remember reading one where the person was a doctor. And it was like a horror fic with disturbing amounts of body horror, where it was just written and they would describe the things that would happen to the characters in like eerie detail. And it's like the aorta, and then this part of the vein, and this part of the muscle, the subcutaneous vein, and all that. And I'm like, this is so specific. I know they're a doctor. Or like another one I remember reading where they were a beekeeper, and then they wrote their character as a beekeeper because they were like, I'm a beekeeper IRL, so I'm gonna write about being a beekeeper. I love when authors write about that. They're like, yes, I'm gonna take something that I know about and I'm just gonna self-insert my job. I like when they do that. Very oddly specific. Coffee shop AUs, same thing. Occasionally, I think they're good. College uni AUs, I think it's okay. You know what I don't like? I think it's because I'm older now. I don't like high school AUs. I don't like high school AUs because they tend to be written by like high schoolers. And they're depending on how it's done, but I feel like a lot of this stuff I cannot relate to anymore. I am no longer in high school. The stuff that they write about is just... Imagine like an American teen drama. That's what high school AUs feel like to me. It's just petty, clique drama of, I don't like you because you're emo, I'm gonna bully you. Like, it's so stupid. Coworkers. Honestly, I think it's great. We are both tired and depressed. Especially if it's not like a typical coworker job, but it's like a 9 to 5, like overworked, tired salaryman. But I cannot specify that, so I'm gonna put in occasionally. Like, you know those black companies? Like, think, what's that anime called? The one where it was trending on TikTok for the hand movements. It was like gari gari. I forgot, her name is Narumi. No, his name is Narumi, and her name is like something else. God, I forgot the name. Meguru. God, I only know the intro. I know what it's about. It's about these two who were childhood friends, and they're both otakus. He's like really into games, and she's really into like BL and manga. And then they're dating, but the people around them don't know that they're nerds because when they're at work, they're like locked in. They're like serious mode. But then outside of work, they go home and it's really domestic and they're really cute and they're dating. And then they like play games together and they talk about like manga together and they talk about anime and all that stuff. And they may not have the exact same hobbies, but they're able to relate. And so like her best friend is also like, she's a cosplayer, and then his friend, who is a person that her best friend's dating, he's like basically like a casual kind of gamer guy. He's into everything. He's like, oh, I only watch the most popular animes, I read like Shonen Jump, stuff like that. So he's like kind of casual normally. Her friend, the main character's best friend, who's like a hardcore cosplayer, she cosplays men, and they both like get into conversations about like yaoi. And it's really cute. I don't know the name of it. Wotaku, sorry, that's what the name is. Wotaku, love for otakus. It's so cute. I really love that one. I love Wotaku. So when I think about like coworkers, that's what I think of. I like that. They're coworkers. Crackfix, I love. I love crackfix. I read like the weirdest crackfix that exist out there. Like I'll go into the crackfic tag and then there's like different types of crackfix. It's like completely off the rails crackfic where the author is just throwing in whatever the hell they want to. And there's like crackfic done seriously where they're like, hey, what if we took this character and we gave them an addiction to like crack. Like, what if we took this one character and we just twisted their personality a little bit so that they're just insane? But then also, like, everybody else is kind of insane, but it's done in, like, a way that's done so seriously that you're like, well, technically it's a crack at you, where nothing in there is serious. It's like a canon divergence. But at the same time, it's taken so, like, seriously, non-seriously that it's just interesting. I'm trying to remember when I was, like, done like that. I think it was, like a My Hero Academia fic, but where they were like, oh, well, what happens if Midoriya never met All Might? What if he had, like, the worst power ever in existence, and his power was to, like, I don't know, snap his fingers and, like, light would shine or whatever. He had, like, some kind of stupid power. And it was just the entirety of My Hero Academia, but Deku with that one power. That's what, like, a croc fic is. Hello, hi Neros. How are you? But, like, crack fics that are just insane, where it's like, I read one that was like a major whatever Halo 3 guy, I forgot his name, Major General, with Isabella from Animal Crossing, because that was a popular fic because of the Smash thing. And I read a crack fic with those two, and they kept introducing random characters. They were like, aha, Sans from Undertale. Sans from Undertale shows up, and his brother Papyrus, and then Hello Kitty comes in later on, and then Sonic, and then, like, all these really random characters, and they get teleported to the world of, like, who knows. It's so weird. But it was great. It was a wild ride. I have to go to work, but I wanted to pass by. Hope you're doing well. Have a good time at work. I'm doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Have fun. Maybe. Don't die. Creature fic. I actually don't know what this means. Maybe it's like werewolf. Maybe they're like a werewolf. Maybe they're a vampire. Maybe they're like mermaid. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what it means. Like werewolf fic. I don't know. I generally enjoy that. It's like under the general category of fantasy. Like anything that has to do with like fantasy / creatures, I like. Crossovers. Defense and execution. Your taste is peculiar? Why? What's weird about it? I'm a furry, maybe. Maybe this outing myself as a furry. I'm not a furry. I just like fantasy. Crossovers are okay if it's like a crack fic. If it's like a crack fic crossover, it's fine. If it's like a crossover in the way of where they're like, hey, let's take the plot of like Life is Strange. Like, I've never watched the movie Die Hard. That's my legs. I've never watched the movie Die Hard, but I've read a crossover fic where they took the characters, I forgot what fandom it was. They took the characters from this one fandom and they put them and replaced them with the characters in Die Hard, and it was an entire retelling of the movie of Die Hard, but with those characters instead. So the dialogue was different, but the general plot line was the same. And it was just exactly the movie of Die Hard, but just retold with different characters. If it's a crossover like that, and it's just a retelling of a story with different characters, I think it's great. I think it's funny. Big W fanfic, yeah. Or like, not even just movies in general, but like other fandoms. I guess, like, one of my top favorite fics is an Ace Attorney Jesus fic, where it wasn't a ship or anything, it was just a crossover where they took Jesus. Bear with me on this one. They took Phoenix Wright and Edgeworth, and he was transported back in time because Jesus appeared before him in a dream and said, "My child, I need you to go back in time to persecute the person sentencing me to death. I need you to defend me in this case trial. And so and so Phoenix is like, anything for you, my lord. And they get sent back in time. and they're like, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this thing on fanfic.com. It's called like Phoenix Wright Goes to like the Bible. And it's literally just Phoenix Wright, the judge for some reason, and the devil and Jesus, and it's like they do like the whole court trial thing, and then like the devil starts playing pranks on him, and then Jesus goes like, Phoenix goes, oh damn it, what the hell? And then he looks at Jesus and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, man. And then Jesus looks at him and goes, I forgive you, my son. That's one of my favorite fics. I think I read it on stream like 2 years ago or something. It was a long while. But it was great. It was so funny. It's really short. It's a crack. That's my favorite crossover. No. And then he's like, at the very end, he's like, objection, devil. You've broken the law. Actually, you're not allowed to do that in the courthouse. And the devil's like, ah, darn it, you got me. It's like a graphic. It's like so badly written, but it's really funny. Absolute cinema. It is. It's great. It's so funny. I love that fic. I should find it. I need to link it. One day. But yeah, crossovers can be fun if it's like not taken seriously. Or if it's like a retelling of a plot that already exists, like a movie, or if it's like one of those like Cinderella AUs kind of thing. Where they take like a plot of a really popular movie or franchise and then they take the characters and they replace them. De-aging. I feel like that's the same thing as age regression, isn't it? No. Well, age regression, I guess it's like where the mind goes back. I've actually never had experience with it. I don't know what that is. And the de-aging is like aged up. I don't know what those two are. I've only seen it in like art. Dystopian AU. I actually don't have experience with this one. Is this the same thing as like zombie apocalypse AUs? Is what I'm assuming. Because it doesn't say. I'm guessing this is the same thing as like apocalypse AUs, like where the world's ending, zombies are taking over and they have to like survive. Depends on execution. I've really only seen dystopian AUs with like zombie apocalypses with angst. You have experiences IRL, true. Dystopia is more like cyberpunk. Oh. I don't think I've ever read anything like that then. Not applicable, well, unfamiliar with. I've never read anything like that. Evil Empire ruining everything? Huh. I don't think I've ever read a fic like that. Yeah, why would I read a fic like this when it exists IRL? Yeah, no, I've actually never read anything like this. Like, does the ABO count? I don't know. Enemies to lovers. I generally enjoy. Especially if it's like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type situation. I've actually read like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type AU. And that was really funny. Because it was like, we're married, but we don't know that each other are like assassins. So now we have to like try to hide that from each other. But then when they find out, they just try to kill each other. And then finally at the end, they're like, you know what? We're good, homie. I only like enemies to lovers if it's like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type situation. Or if it's like a... Or if it's like done in a petty way. It doesn't have to be like, I hate your guts kind of thing, but like in a general like, rivals to lovers. I like rivals to lovers more than I like enemies to lovers, actually. I prefer rivals to lovers more than enemies to lovers. But I think it can be fun if it's like actually enemies. I saw a discourse on Twitter for this earlier where it was like, stop calling Pride and Prejudice enemies to lovers. You are ruining the fact of enemies to lovers. If they haven't tried to kill each other at least once, they are not truly enemies to lovers. We love toxicity in this household. That's what I saw. It's so toxic IRL, but fun in fiction. Exactly. Fiction is meant to be fun. I don't think like you can do whatever the hell you want in fiction. That's the purpose of fiction. If you want to be toxic, if you want like toxic relationships, like all that stuff, that's what fan fiction is for. You're not going to do that in real life. I think everybody knows that, but there's some people out there who don't take it seriously. But fiction, in my mind, is fiction. It stays fiction, and it's for you to explore different versions of the world that doesn't actually exist, but it's for fun. Damn it, mental, please let me have fun in my little brain box. Exactly. I don't know. There's people out there on Twitter who try to cancel fanfiction. Like the whole, oh my god. So this year, for October, they have this thing called I forgot what it was called. It was like fanfic month, where for October 1st, so like Inktober, but for writing. I think it was for like smutfics, PWP. So every single thing on that list was supposed to be like for short, like drabbles of like PWP. And then this year they decided to add, I believe, like 2 quote-unquote problematic topics that TikTok would not have. They were canceling AO3. People were complaining about AO3 because AO3 had things like underage and, like rape and non-con and stuff like that. So it turned into a huge argument on TikTok and on like Twitter, where people were arguing about AO3 and it should be taken down because it encourages these things and because it has this as a topic. And it's like, a lot of these people who are arguing against AO3 are children who like to, like, I don't know, purity culture things. So in my opinion, I don't think their opinions are valid, but they're just a very loud minority, I guess, in fandom spaces in general, so it's really hard to ignore them. So it just brought a lot of discussion about like, well, it's AO3, it's an archive. It's, if you want something that's like perfectly pure for your own little brain, make it yourself. Go into Wattpad or whatever you want. But no, it's all these people who come onto like other categories and they're like, well, you people who exist in your own space are doing something that I don't like, so I'm going to police what you do. Which I find that happens a lot nowadays, especially in fandoms. So, oh well, what do you say? Just, I've stopped engaging with fandoms. I generally don't participate in fandoms, especially because of that reason, but unless it's like a streamer. If it's like a streaming fandom, like for example, like VTubers, like I'm in the VTuber fandom. I don't really follow along with the drama that goes on there, but if it's like a major, streamer doing like some kind of concert or some kind of event, I'll participate. I'll interact with people who are like, the Oshi Sijin people, and I'll talk to them about their like the people that they enjoy and the stuff that they like, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice. But in general, the whole thing as a whole is just crazy. We might be going backwards with the purity culture, like made some of the best works of fiction are about revolting topics. True. Like, what's it called? Fahrenheit 451 was really controversial when it first came out, but now it's regarded as like a really important piece of literature. Like, if we didn't have topics, like Animal Farm too. Animal Farm was a criticism of society. If we didn't have fics that were on topics that people found uncomfortable, where would we be? Like Slaughterhouse 5. Where would we be without these stories if they didn't explore different realms of thinking, of different realms of like thought and beliefs? If you live in one section where you only believe in what you want to believe and everything should follow that exact brain category, then you're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anything different. You're not going to get anything creative. You're not going to have any uniqueness in the world, I think. Right? It's more fun if people are different. Hello, tweet, bye, bye. Hot take. Gatekeeping is a good thing. In the act right, be nice, accept how we are, you can stay, otherwise hit the road. True. I feel like people took that backwards in Tumblr back in the early 2000s, where people were all like, minors DNI, look at my DNI list. And the DNI list was like, if you are under the age of 14, if you ship multi-ship, if you are in the Danganronpa fandom, if you ship... It was crazy. I remember reading like this really long one. If you like Akinomamiya Mizuki, if you like Danganronpa, if you like Monokuma, if you like Yuri on Ice, if you like shipping men, if you like problematic age ships, if you like multi-shipping, if you like this and this and this DNI. And it's like, are you serious? You're gonna, like... I don't even understand DNI lists. Like, are you gonna go out of your way to look through somebody's bio, look through somebody's stuff that they repost and be like, well, I don't like this person, block? Like, really? Just curate your own list of people. You need a bit of trauma and a bit of guts to come up with Trench Crusade. Ad hominem the movie? When I was in English class in high school and I learned about logical fallacies, it's the only thing that lives in my head nowadays. The moment we were taught about logical fallacies in English, I was in AP English, the moment we learned about logical fallacies is the moment that, like, generally a lot of things made sense to me. Like when we learned about satire, logical fallacies, and just like having your own opinion and like reading comprehension in general, I think kind of like changes you as a person, because you're like, well, I think everybody can have their own opinion. It's not a matter of fact of whether you're right or wrong. It's just a matter of fact of how well can you argue for it? How well can you tolerate this thing? I saw a post on Tumblr just like an hour ago, a while ago, that was talking about everybody has something wrong with them. Everybody has something odd. Everything is something like different. It's just a matter of what you are willing to tolerate. So for example, let's say that you have somebody whose personality is very much like a warrior and they constantly need to be reassured. Some people who are very impatient would not be able to tolerate that, but people who are very tolerant and they're able to deal with it, maybe they would get along with that person. Maybe you're somebody who's very quick to anger. People who are patient would be fine with that. People who are also quick to anger would not get along with them. So it's just a matter of finding people who have things wrong with them, but things that you're able to work with. Good night, Neros. Need to go. Have a straight stream to you, Ren. Take care, you too. Bye. Good night. Have a good rest of your day. Good night. Rest of your time zone. I don't know. Enjoy your next 24 hours. Bye. When it comes to roleplay, sure, I kind of get it, but when it comes to fanfic, simple solution, click the X button, stop reading it. True. I don't know, people act like they're being held at gunpoint when they read a fic. There was like this whole thing that was going around with especially on TikTok, where they were talking about tagging in specifics, where they were like, well, the tagging system shouldn't exist on AO3 because you have all these problematic fics. And it's like, well, just the button for exclude specific tag is right there. Just don't read it. Easy. Back in my day, not to sound like a 1,000-year-old boomer, back in my day, if we didn't like somebody, we would just block them online and we would never see them ever again. But nowadays, apparently on Twitter, you're not allowed to block people because they can still see your stuff. They just can't interact with it. So it's like, what's the point of blocking? What I do now is I just mute them. Muting works better than blocking. So if you don't want to see a certain person on your timeline, you just mute them. You're like, oh, this person's wrong about most topics, but they're very loud and they keep popping up, so I'm just gonna mute it. The only reason I don't like people learning about ad hominem is people using it to dismiss any arguments just because there's an insult attached. That's the thing with logical fallacies, is like, they can be used to anything. A lot of things. But it's just a matter of, well, you have to have a certain level of maturity, I think, when interacting with anybody about it. Because if there's somebody who comes up to you and they're like, blah, 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 I'm not going to listen to your argument because you're using this logical fallacy and this logical fallacy and this argument. I don't want to listen to your opinion. Then they're not somebody worth really trying to talk to. Which, it takes two to have a conversation. And if one person's unwilling to listen, it's really difficult. Especially if they're really fighting you on it. Because, like, I've learned a lot about conflict resolution as a part of my, like, my career slash, what's it called? When I was in school, they made us take a conflict resolution course. And a lot of it was learning to manage your own emotions. And you know that you're unable to control the other person. So they have this, analogy. Imagine your ego, the thing that you default to the first, the thing that you want to say when somebody says something that's wrong and you want to step up with, actually, that is your ego. They call that your elephant. Imagine you are the rider on that elephant. You cannot control where the elephant goes, but you can control yourself. So when you are in a situation like that and you hear somebody saying something that's obviously wrong or something that you disagree with, and your knee-jerk reaction is to be like, hey, you're wrong, just take a step back, analyze yourself, being like, well, why do I feel that way? Where are they coming from? What are their values? Where are they coming from? And try to see from their side, essentially, is what it tries to tell you. Because even if somebody's opinion is, like, in your opinion, wrong, I don't think all opinions should be just dismissed just because they're wrong, because everything's kind of rooted in some type of belief. Or at least, like, that's what I learned. But it's really difficult to argue with somebody who will not listen to you, even if you try to play on their level and they just refuse. So that's really difficult. That's a problem, though. It's not about me, and if it's not me, then it's bad and it's wrong, clearly / serious. Yeah. Well, I don't know. At that point, you just kind of think to yourself, like, is it worth it? Do I have the energy for this? And if the answer is no, then just walk away. Hello, Esther! Dropping by just to say hi before I go to bed because it's late. Oh my god, it is late for you. Good night. Go to bed. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a good night. Good night. Bye. Honestly, I just don't bother with arguments. I avoid them. I don't like conflict. I will avoid conflict at all costs. And if I'm with somebody who wants to be confrontational with me, then I will just go on the default of yes, yes, sure, whatever you say. And I'll just come off as really patronizing. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, I like that. Established relationship. I like that. I generally enjoy. Everybody lives. I think I don't really have much experience with, but I think it's okay. Honestly, I don't like everybody dies in a fic and everyone's like, yay, everybody lives. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I don't really read it or go out of my way for it. Fairy tale I generally enjoy. Like if it's a whole like retelling of Cinderella or it's a retelling of Snow White or whatever. I think I like it. One of my favorites. Especially if they're like unusual fairy tales. I think I've seen like a million Cinderella fairy tales AUs, but if it's like Baba Yaga or Princess and the Pea or whatever, I think if they're done with a twist, they're pretty interesting. So I usually enjoy those. Fake relationships. That's what I was talking about earlier with the whole like arranged marriage that I thought was it, but it wasn't. I generally enjoy those. I think they're really funny if it's like we have to fake date. First kiss? I like. Definitely enjoy. Fix it fix. I do like those occasionally. Especially if the fandom was done dirty. If they just end the season and they're like, haha, finale, this is how it's ending, and everybody goes, no. And then everybody says, hey, we're gonna fix it. Fix it fix. I think that's fine. Flower shop AUs? I generally, occasionally. What I like is flower shop AUs and they're like a tattoo shop AU. That's what I like. If they're like a flower shop / tattoo shop next to each other. I like those. Fluff. I love fluff. I don't like angst. I only like fluff. And I like crack. I like humor. If it's like fluff and humor, I like that. Forced proximity. I generally enjoy it. I think it's funny. I think it can be done funny, especially if it's like enemies to lovers or if it's like rivals to lovers or they hate each other. I read one fic about characters who accidentally handcuffed each other together. They just accidentally. I like crack. Yeah. I do like crack. I like crack fics. Found family, I generally enjoy. I love found family. With found family though, it has to be a fandom that I'm already in, because if it's a fandom that I'm not in, that I'm just reading for this story, then I don't know. It's hard to relate to the characters if I don't know them. Hydro break? Yes, I'm drinking water. It's hard to enjoy found family if you don't know the characters. I'm gonna be so real. Like if you're reading characters that you have no connection to whatsoever and you're just reading it for the sake of the story, it's really hard to enjoy found family. But if it's a fandom that you're already in, that you know the dynamics of the characters and you like them, then that's fine. I prefer that more. But if I'm reading a fic and it's like Teen Wolf or whatever, and I have no idea who any of the 5 characters are, and they're just like weird, and I'm like, well, for all I know, these could be cousins. I don't know who they are. I'm just reading for the story, and then it just kind of takes me out of it. But if the story's really well written, maybe. Friends to lovers. I like it okay. Depends on execution. I'm weird like that. I like rivals to lovers more than I like friends to lovers, because friends to lovers is boring to me. I'm sorry. Friends to lovers is boring. If it's friends to lovers with like fake dating, that's great. That's fun because it's like pining. But if it's friends to lovers and it's like a high school romance that turns to like as they get older and they get together in high school, then it's just like, congratulations to the vanilla couple. It's okay. Yes, there's no spice in my life. It's boring. It's okay. It's vanilla. That's like, We all knew they were gonna get together eventually. There's no spice. I don't care if it's like, you know, really cute and fluffy and whatever, if it's just boring. Fusion. I actually don't know what that is. If it's like, what is fusion? Is fusion like if they took a celebrity AU and they mixed it with a crime AU and they mixed it with like enemies to lovers? Is that what fusion is? I don't know what fusion means. I guess it's not applicable. I don't know what that is. You don't hate one another? Why are you even dating? Exactly. Listen, I like the appeal of rivals to lovers or enemies to lovers because you see each other at your worst before you see each other at your best. And if you're friends to lovers, then that's just a normal relationship. Why bother being friends to lovers? You're just friends. Like, it's one thing if it's like childhood friends to lovers. Also, that's kind of boring to me. I'm so sorry people who like it, but it's boring to me. But like, that's just normal dating. Okay, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Because, like, if in general, if ever in life, if you're gonna date somebody, wouldn't you want to be friends first before you date? I don't understand people who just meet strangers, they hook up, and the next thing you know, they're dating. Because it's like, you don't know each other. Why are you dating? You don't know anything about each other. Why are you dating? What do you mean that you just started dating and you weren't even friends first? That doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that? So, to me, friends to lovers is just the normal course of life. I don't think I've ever met anybody or seen anybody who's just, well, we met at a party, next thing you know, we just started to date. Like, you don't know each other. Why are you dating? Just be friends. What's wrong with you? Genfic. Depends on execution. I've read a couple of genfics that's like, that explores more of like character introspection / relationships that are non-romantic. Like, sibling relationships or family relationships. I think they can be done well. Done on execution. I like ones that explore the plot and the ones that explore like general character studies. But sometimes they get really boring if I don't know the character really well or if I don't like the character. Tell me about it. I hate people who say don't date your friends. I married my best friend, best decision of my life. Yay! Congratulations. Yeah, that's the thing. Why wouldn't you date somebody who's your best friend? Like, you know that you get along with the person. Why wouldn't you want to spend the rest of your life with them? That doesn't make sense. I think most people date within their friend group. That's how they meet people. It doesn't make sense for people to like marry somebody who's not their best friend. Every single person I've been in who's been in relationships for a long time, they always say, I married my best friend. And I do know people who have been in relationships, mostly in my own family, who are not best friends, but they're still together. I mean, they tolerate each other, but I don't know if they get along really well. It depends. There's a lot of different types of relationships out there. Like, my own family, we've had like, there's so many different types of relationships in my family. Nobody has like the same consistent relationship. Like, we've got, on this list, we've got arranged marriage. We've got enemies to lovers, break up and make up multiple times. We've got co-parenting. What's it called? Cohabitation? What's it called? Like, there's a word for it where you live together for a really long time but you don't actually get married. I forgot the name. I don't know. Stuff like that. There's a lot of really weird, interesting, or like coworkers. Coworkers is another relationship in my family. So a lot of people get together in different ways. They meet in different ways. Not everything's consistent. My entire family is just all different tropes of this tier list. Cohabitation is correct? It's not cohabitation, there's like a specific word for it. It's like there's a specific legal term for it, where you live together but you're not actually married, but you pay equal houses on rent. What's the word? I'm looking up cohabitation legally. Common law. It's called common law. My brain is not braining today. I don't remember words. My mom and her husband, they share no interest. Seems like they can barely stand one another, and it baffles me. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just what you're willing to tolerate and how you make things work. Also, people who were born back then do tend to have, like, I guess, a bias against divorce. Some people just refuse to get divorced, and it's like they hate each other, but they just don't want to get divorced because it goes against their beliefs. So they just choose to live together and suffer. And you know, they've been together for so long, they do manage to make it work. Like, I know people who are like that. They're married, they hate each other. Well, they don't really hate each other, they just tolerate each other. They live in the same house, essentially. And they're just living together. And they've managed to make it work. Gender swap. I think, occasionally, I think it can be good. Although, with this one, it has to be done well, because I feel like half the time when they do gender swap, especially in like an MM pairing, it turns into just heterosexual couple, where it's like the trope of, if you replace this character with this sexy lamp, would the story be the same? Yes. So what's the difference? Like, just because they're a lady? I don't know. Listen, if they're both women, sure. If one's a woman, it's heterosexuality. Like, once again, with the whole friends to lovers, yay, vanilla couple, woohoo! Get together? Isn't it just normal fanfics? When romance, they just get together? Is that not a normal fic? With romance, it's just a get together fic? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's just like bed sharing. It's just a typical thing that just exists. Hanahaki, I'm unfamiliar with. I came back and I'm surprised you're still doing the stream. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times 2 is 28 plus like 5 more. We've got a lot to go. We're still going. Hanaki disease. I've actually never really read any fics with it. Never. I don't know. There's something about it. It just comes with the tags of major character death and angst with no happy ending. And I just feel really sad, and I'm like, I don't really want to read it. So I actually haven't read any fics with it. Anything that talks about like Hanahaki, I really haven't I don't have much experience with it. I don't really think I've read anything with it. Happy ending! I like happy endings. I love happy endings. I don't like sad endings. Historical AU. I actually don't know what a historical AU is. I guess occasionally it's fine. I don't know what a historical AU is. Is it like, oh, character gets sent back to medieval times and it's like medieval era? Or is it like Victorian era Pride and Prejudice AU? I don't know. I don't know what historical AU means. I don't think I've ever read a fic that's a historical AU. Unless it was mixed with fantasy, then it was like a fantasy kind of like that. Pretty much that. Usually more colonial though. Really? I've actually never read anything like that then. Unless I'm thinking about like Pride and Prejudice. What's it? What is that show called? The one that like Bridgerton. Like a Bridgerton AU. I think I've read something like that, where it's like a ball with the whole like, ooh, prince setting. princes and princesses, stuff like that. So because it's late where I am, got school and stuff, I'm gonna go to bed. I'll see you later. Good night, Alpha Samurai. Good night. Have a good night. Bye bye. Have a good rest. Yeah, I don't think I've read anything like that, unless it was like that. Like the whole arranged marriage thing with like the clans and the kingdoms. I've only read stuff like that. Although I can't really consider that historical, that's more like fantasy. Like historical fantasy. Hurt Comfort. Occasionally, I think it's okay. Same thing with Angst at the happy ending. Hurt Comfort with like sick fic, I think can be done well. But Hurt Comfort, it usually just comes by as like a general. It's in a lot of fics because people like their angst. I think it's okay. Hurt No Comfort, I don't like. I don't like pain. I don't like suffering. Good night. Bye. Identity porn. I don't know what this is. I'm unfamiliar with that. What is identity porn? Is it like body dysmorphia? Is it like, what's it called? Not body dysmorphia, but like coming of age? I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. Also, in vino veritas. I don't know what that is either. Actually, let me look it up. I'm gonna Google identity porn and see what happens. Meaning of tag. It is a trope or narrative kink that may not involve actual porn, involving people who have secret identities which focus on the consequences of using multiple personas. A fanfic motif usually associated with the superhero genre, where more characters in a relationship use secret identities. And then I get Pornhub. Okay, so identity porn is like having a secret double life, essentially. I think it depends on execution. It can be good. I've watched Miraculous. That's entertaining. I've only watched season 1 though, and I watched it in French because I wanted to learn French. That was fun. They never learn who they are. It takes forever. I don't think they still know either. They never do. So, I think it can be done well if it's done with like a superhero or if it's like comedy, but I don't know, if it's like serious, it's kind of weird. In vino veritas, I looked it up and it means Latin, in wine there is truth. A person under the influence of alcohol is more likely to speak their hidden thoughts and desires. So it's like truth serum, essentially. I think occasionally it's okay. I think it's funny if it's like a truth type serum, especially with a character who's like emotionally constipated. I think it can be funny. As a fic about a character getting drunk and telling the truth about something. Yeah, it can be funny. Or not even like a confession or anything romantically. If it's like a type of confession where it's like not when they're drunk, but like if you strap somebody or you play a lie detector test, like that, where they're forced to tell the truth in a situation, or they get hit with like some kind of spell that makes them unable to tell lies. I think that can be done well if it's like done humorously and not in a way that's manipulative. If it's done in like a funny way where it's like, hey, who ate my last slice of cake in the fridge? And they're like, I did. And they're like, oh no, who said that? I think that can be funny. Kid fic, I don't really enjoy that. I think it's okay. I don't go out of my way for it. I don't like it. It's okay. Like with the whole character walks down the street and they unwittingly adopt a child, or like their long lost sibling appears and goes, I got hooked up and now I have a child and I don't want it anymore. Here you go. Free child. What they call it? Free child distribution system. Child distribution system. Free child. Take it. I don't want it. Take the cat. you know? A lot of these kid fics usually end up being something like that. Or it's like a ex-character hooked up with some random person a long time ago, and then suddenly they showed up at their doorstep and they said, this is your child, take care of them, and they leave. They become like a deadbeat mom or whatever. I usually see that in kid fics, and it's like, okay. Or like character got married and maybe their wife died and they left behind a kid. Something like that. Or their sister died and their sister had a kid. I think it's okay. It just, usually with these fics, it involves like some kind of deadbeat mom or like mother who died to start off with the situation in the first place, and it usually just deals with like a whole like, sometimes the fic deals with the whole overarching shadow of they need a woman in their life, and it's just really weird to me. I'm unfamiliar with it. I've only read like 1 or 2, and those are like general like babysitting fics. And they were done well. It was like a whole like, I think their sister passed away or whatever. It was interesting. But it's not something that I go to my way for, so nah. Magic AU, I generally enjoy those. I like fantasy. Like, I like reading Merlin fics because they're really funny. Major character, even if I've actually never watched Merlin in my life, I just read Merlin fics. Major character death, I do not like those. I don't like sad stories. No angst, no hurt, no comfort. Memory loss, occasionally. If it's funny. If it's like those amnesia plots. Like, you know in isekai mangas where they wake up in the body of a villainess or like a villain and they have to pretend that they lose their memory and they're like, oh no, I don't know who I am anymore. I think that can be funny if it's like a pretend memory loss. Maybe like halfway through they remember their memories and they just pretend that they don't. Especially if that character is a villain. Like, I've read a couple where they try to redeem the villain because, you know, you know the villain side. You know the villain isn't a bad person. Like, I don't know, Megamind. They're just acting like that because of a specific purpose that they want to do. So let's say like the villain loses their memory and then they end up on the other side with them and they go like, well, we can't abandon them because we're not mean. I think that can be done well. It is frustrating though. Especially if they really did lose their memory and then you're just kind of like, communicate please. Miscommunication. I don't like miscommunication. I know it's like for the sake of fiction and for the sake of the story, and I think it's fine, but used as a crutch for a plot device instead of like to drag on the story rather than like resolving it in a way other than that can be done better. I don't like it. It can be good if it's funny. Actually, I think it depends on execution. Depends if it's funny. If it's like a whole like stupid plot line where it's like, hey, can you grab milk from the store? And they misunderstand milk as like, can you buy me a, like, I don't know, like a cactus, and they come home with like a coyote. And then they're like, I asked you to go to the store to get this. Why did you bring home this? I think that can be funny. If it's like a humorous miscommunication. If it's like miscommunication done as like a plot device where they're just trying to drag on the story for slow burn purposes, then that's annoying. But if it's like humorous miscommunication where it's like, I'm at the soup store. I'm looking for clothes. Okay. Go to the next aisle. Okay. I'm in the next aisle. All I see is soup. What do you mean there's soup? Well, where are you? I'm at soup. Why are you at soup? I'm at the soup store. Why are you at the soup store? I'm buying clothes. Why are you buying clothes in the soup store? Stuff like that. I think that'd be funny. Modern AUs. I love those. I like modern AUs, especially if it's modern with magic. I like, okay, you know what? I'll add them both. I like Modern with Magic. Mpreg. I'm pretty unfamiliar with that. Same thing with Kidfix. Like those two in general. I find, yeah, Kidfix actually are pretty like go together with Mpreg sometimes. I'm unfamiliar with those. I don't really like that. Especially when like a majority of the story ends up being like being pregnant, because that's kind of weird. Hello, just came by to say hi and now goodbye. Bye bye, good night. Oh no, not too into that. I've seen, I don't know what it is, but whenever I'm like reading manga and a character has like, let's say he has an Omega verse, and then the comments are just begging the author, please, I need to see the kids, I need to see the children, I need to see him pregnant. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's just me though. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like, it's okay. But I never understand people in the comments who are just like, I need to see the children. I love children. I need to see him pregnant. I'm just like, that's weird. I'm fine with it just cutting off right there. Or maybe a time skip. Maybe when they have like, when the kids are older, like I don't need to see the whole process of it. That's weird. Mystery. Honestly, this is the same thing as like case fic or crime AUs. Same thing. It's okay. Occasionally, I'll dabble. I like it. I like mystery. I see a lot of these tropes kind of coexist with each other, honestly. It's not just like one thing by itself, but it's like multiple things that have this. For example, you could have mystery in a crime AU. You could have mystery in like a case fic. You could have a mystery crime AU case fic. With like historical and enemies to lovers and all that. I think mystery can be good. I like myself a good plot. Pining. I think it can be fine if it's done well. I like pining. I don't like slow burn. I think it can take forever for them to get together, but if it's like pining and it's like mutual pining and it just gets like, wow, they're so obvious and everybody knows except for them. And that's like, I don't know, it's cute. Especially if they're both like really, really hopeless and then everybody around them is just like, oh my god. And they're both like, oh my god, they don't know. My heart's beating so loud right now, can they hear? And then everybody around them is looking at them, just watching this and being like, they're so obvious. PWP! I don't mind. I don't really, like, if it's... I describe PWP as like, if I'm having a full course meal with a really great plot and a really great story and I'm like really liking this thing, and at the very end they have like sprinkle in some extra chapter of PWP, sure, if it's a part of the story. But if it's just only PWP and it's just that, like Kinktober essentially, where every single chapter is just different kinks, where you're just like, I'd have to be in a specific mood for it, and usually that mood is never. I'm unfamiliar with PWP. Porn without plot or porn what plot? It just means just smut with no plot whatsoever. It's just porn. That's what it is. Reincarnation. I don't think I've actually read anything with reincarnation that wasn't like a creature fic, essentially, like a phoenix. Like if they're a phoenix and they die and they come back to life, I'm kind of unfamiliar with it. I don't... Actually, no. Maybe like a reincarnation where they travel through time, where it's like, well, we met in the 1600s, and then I watched them die in the war they're my husband, that they died in the war, and then they reincarnated, and I see them again, but this time they died to the Black Plague. And then we get reincarnated again. And then now we're in the 80s, and then they die to a gang war. And then you see them again, and they keep dying in tragic ways, and they keep coming back every 7 years until finally we're in the modern day era, and we're able to be together, and they're a teacher, but they don't know I exist, and then suddenly we have like a huge age gap relationship, and it's just kind of weird. I think it can be okay if it's done well. Like, one thing I've seen is like person A is immortal, and then person B is just doomed to die over and over and over and over again until they break the curse. Or another one I've seen is where they both die, and then one person remembers all of their past lives and the other person doesn't. I think that can be fine. They do tend to be very angsty though. They're very angsty. Like, hurt and comfort. Because you're dealing with the whole like, I watch you die in front of me, and I have to like watch you die again, stuff like that. I feel like it only works in specific types of characters. Legend of Zelda tends to use a lot of reincarnation for obvious reasons. True. I've actually never read a Legend of Zelda fic. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think I have. I've never read anything from that fandom. But yeah, with reincarnation, doesn't have a lot of angst. I'm trying to think of like, what's another way of reincarnation trope that they would use? Like the whole... I don't know. Just the whole like, you're doomed to die and I'm trying to prevent it. Or like, not even reincarnation, but like a time loop, which I think is right here. This one. Time loop. Depending on execution. Time loop can be good. It just tends to drag on for a very long time. Like, these tend to be really long, and I do like it. I like long fics. It's just when they repeat over and over and over again, like ORV. ORV is just stuck in its own time loop. Oh my god, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. For obvious reasons, time loop on its own, because that's how the story goes. But I've read fics where they will describe the exact same thing, the intro, the paragraph, and they'll repeat it over and over and over and over again, at least 7 times. And you're like, wow, this is getting old. When does things change? Like, obviously little things change every now and then, especially if it's a whole like, I'm stuck in a time loop with this one person on a specific day that keeps looping over and over and over again. And this person keeps dying in front of me and I hate their guts, but because they keep dying, I keep getting reset. So I know that they're the factor in this time loop. I've seen one that's done like this where the character was suicidal. And every single time they try to prevent their death, they end up dying anyways. So it just turns into a whole like, you need self-care. I'm gonna play therapist. And they try so many different methods of like, well, we're gonna get you to therapy. It's like the whole needy streamer girlfriend. Needy streamer overload? Needy streamer overload, where it's like, well, we're gonna try different ways to get you to this goal, right? Where it's like, well, maybe we try therapy. Maybe I play therapist. Maybe I kill myself in front of you to change the trajectory of your life. Maybe, like, I try to prevent the course of events in your life that happen this way. Maybe we talk about it. Maybe, like, I slap you in the face and I tell you to get over it. Like, different ways. They're interesting. In my experience, that only works if you tweak the intro of every 2 or 3 loops, or you suddenly do a massive change on loop 4. True. Yeah, it does tend to get draggy. But that's why I said, depends on execution. Roommates, and they were roommates. roommates with like found family, but they can't have only 2 roommates. They have to have at least 5, and it has to be like a gamer house. That's the only way I will accept roommates. I don't want roommates of only 2 people because that's just cohabiting. I want roommates where there's 5 people in a house together and it just turns into chaos college dorm. That's what I want. I want it to be like a chaos college dorm where one person's setting house on fire and the other people in the house is just being like horrible. That's what I want. I want my like found family household, gamer household. That's what I want. Royalty AU. I feel like there's the same thing in like arranged marriage or like historical AU. Royalty AU. I feel like it's not applicable. I don't really read anything with it. The only time I've actually read anything with it if it's like with the fairy tale AU. That's the only experience I have. So, that's okay. Sci-fi, personally, I have not read much sci-fi. If it's like, I'm trying to think of like science fiction. I'm trying to think. Have I read anything with sci-fi? Some types of sci-fi, like if it's like apocalyptic sci-fi. With the future of genetic modification is here, and it's like a Gattaca type, like we're in space type sci-fi. But I'll say unfamiliar with, because I really don't go out of my way to read sci-fi in the way of like Cyberpunk 2077 or what is that anime with the girl with the multicolored hair and her name is like Leo? That's not a girl, that's a guy, isn't it? He's got like green like rainbow hair. Leo? I forgot the name. Or like psychopaths? Stuff like that. I don't really go out of my way to look for sci-fi unless it happens to be like an interesting story. But I don't have much experience with it. Secret relationship. The closest thing I can think of would be more of a crossover, like a fantasy setting into a Shadowrun setting. Ooh. I'm thinking of Bones. I don't think I've ever read anything like, what is Shadowrun? Is that a book? It is. So, role-playing game. I've actually never read anything like that. Science fantasy. Ooh. That's interesting. I actually don't have much experience with sci-fi because to me, sci-fi is kind of boring with like technical sci-fi and science fiction stuff. I'll read... what's it called? Dark fantasy / auto... what's it called? Mechanical fantasy? I forgot the name of it. Steampunk. I'll read steampunk because it's like old technology with fantasy versus like whatever. But if stuff includes androids and robots and stuff like that, it's not my thing. I've read Cinder. I've read the Cinder series and like the whole thing that goes along with it. That was actually really interesting, actually. Like the Little Red Riding Hood twist where the werewolf is a cyborg and she has prosthetic legs. And Cinder herself is living in some kind of like dystopian fantasy world where like with the nouveau rich and it's like a whole District 8 type. What's it called? Hunger Games. It's like a Hunger Games type. Like, that's what I think of when I think of sci-fi. Hunger Games. Not like the first book, but like the second and the third book where they're dealing with like politics and the war between districts. The first district and the second district. That's what that reminds me of when I think of sci-fi. It's Cyberpunk 2077, but with fantasy, so dragon CEOs, orcs installing cybernetics, that kind of thing. Ooh, fun. So basically like high fantasy, essentially. That's what that is. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really read much sci-fi. I'm more into like modern AUs or just modern with magic or fairy tale AUs. Secret relationship. Depending on execution, if it's a secret relationship and the secret relationship is like fake relationship, that can be good. If it's secret relationship, I don't know why would you want to hide in the first place. It'd have to be a really good reason. Sex pollen. This is a really common trope that goes along with PWP. I don't really read it. I don't go out of my way for it. I've seen variants of sex pollen with in vino veritas where the person has to like tell the truth rather than have sex. I don't read it that often or at all, really much. I don't go out of my way for it. Sick fix. Occasionally. I think it can be cute. Especially if it's mixed with like wump. Sick fic with wump can be nice. Especially if it's like a hurt and comfort fic. It's nice to read those once in a while. I like when the characters are taken care of. It's like, oh, it's a nice relationship. Slow burn occasionally. If it's written with a really good plot, it has to have a compelling storyline. Like, if the plot is really, really good, like, it has to be... I'm trying to think of an example. For example, I guess the RPG one that I was reading, where it comes with the whole, I'm in love with this NPC character, but I don't know that they're a real person. But we also have the subplot of me training to become the strongest I can so I can defeat the demon lord. So romance is not the first thing on my mind. But as we go through our journey together and we help each other, we slowly start getting closer. And we open up to each other about our vulnerabilities, and that's like that kind of slow burn that I enjoy, because it's a relationship that's developing. It's not super quick. They don't fall in love immediately. It's just a whole like, I'm learning to trust you type stuff. It can be done well, but only if the plot is really good. If it's just slow burn for no reason, then it's like, ugh, get together. I do enjoy secret relationships when it's like the princess and her knight, but she can't love him because of royalty. Oh. Yeah, like the whole legal obligations versus like, I see that a lot in like religious guilt type fics where the character is internally homophobic or like has some kind of internal conflict that they have to deal with, is what I see the most often. Songfic, not applicable. I don't really read those. I have discovered music through songfics, especially if it's like a dance AU, or if it's like a specific type of sports, like a ice skating AU, rhythmic gymnastics AU, any type of AU that involves like dancing and music. I have found new music through those, but I wouldn't call those songfics, so I don't really have experience with those. Soulmates, I think that can be good. I generally like those. Not in the Twilight way, that's weird. But like the whole Red String of Fate AU, or the whole Soulmark AU, where it's like different types of AUs actually, where it's like, you know, the soul marks where everybody's born with a unique soul mark. And then if you see somebody and you're matching soul marks and you're soulmates, or like you draw on each other's skin and whatever you draw on your skin will transmit to the other person's skin. Or any pain that you receive, any bruises, any wounds, automatically also get transferred to your soulmate. Or things like their name is written on you, or like something that represents them, Something like that. There can be different types of soul mark AUs that I like. Sports AUs, what I was talking about with ice skating. There's an execution. I've read a lot of Haikyuu fics. I've read a lot of Yuri on Ice fics. I think they can be done well. If it's not the entire thing, if it's like romance with sports AU, then it can make it interesting. Especially if it's like the whole, like, we're gonna do team sports together, the homoerotic whatever thing it is with team sports. Tattoo AU. I don't know what that is. Is that like soulmate? I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with that one. I don't know what a tattoo AU is. Text fic. I usually don't enjoy these, even if it's labeled as a crack fic, because text fics ends up being super bloated in a word count, but when you actually click on them to read it, half of it is just the actual names of characters taking up all the word count than the actual plot of the story. Text fics can only be good if they have like a side of paragraph descriptions, but if it's the only thing and they're in high school, my main pet peeve is text fics that are only text fics and they're in high school, because then it just comes off as like this is a child writing this, because none of that is interesting or entertaining, especially if it's like, hi guys, and then like 5 people reply to them. Oh my god, it's this person again. Shut up. Why are you texting? Aren't you in class? Guys, we're supposed to be paying attention to the lecture. Oh my god, the teacher's coming. Quick, hide your phones. 5 minutes later. So guys, who's read the newest novel of this type of game? Who's caught up? Haha, blah blah blah, some random meme reference, skibbity. Like, I don't like those because it just ends up being like super stupid. It can be done well if it's like let's say they texted the wrong number. Let's say it's like a whole, they met over text and it's like maybe they went out on a date and the person gave them the wrong number, or they found a random number and they texted them and they said, hey, I got your number from so and so, or I found this random number, and the other person's like, who the hell are you? And they'll go, I found this number, or somebody gave me this number, and then, you know, next thing you know, they just keep texting each other and they become friends, and then eventually they meet. I think that can be done well. If it's like a whole like meet cute type thing, or if it's like a whole not like specifically text fic, but like social media AUs where they meet online or through a game. Like through an RPG, through like an online chatting system, through a game, and they meet and they become friends and they change discords and they meet up in person. That can be nice, but just text fic on its own, I don't know. The only time I've seen text fics work is sort of like found footage, where it's telling a horror story through the text center or something like that. I would love to see a text fic written like that. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That'd be cool if it existed. I've seen it in mobile games. There was one that I was reading. You know how mobile games on your phone will have like specific types of... There was a period of time where I was interested in a specific genre of phone games that was like puzzle-based light novel RPGs. So for example, one of them I read was that on your phone, think Mystic Messenger. You get a mysterious app downloaded on your phone. You open up the app, and the person goes, how did you get this number? And then you go, well, I got it through an app. You shouldn't have had this app. This was only supposed to be installed on government phones. How did you get access to this? And you say, well, I don't know, it just appeared on my phone. And they go, well, that's okay. Nobody can know about this. You have to promise me that you're speaking in like an area that's confidential, okay? And you go, okay. And they say, well, I need help. Let's say I'm some secret agent stuck in some like whatever facility, and this is what's happening, and they tell you all the details of the thing, and you have to choose like a dating app. Not a dating app, sorry. Like an Atoma game where you have to choose between like 3 different responses and you're just responding to them through the 3 choices, like an Atoma game. And then they give you storylines through the text that they're telling you. And they're trying to describe, hey, I'm in danger. I need help with this. Can you do that? I'll get back to you. I think I'm like about to be caught. I need to install this wire. Something like that. And then you have to keep going back to the app to check in on them and be like, okay, 3 hours later, they text you again. They get a notification. Hey, are you there? Stuff like that. I think that can be done well, but I've never seen it done in a fic. I've only seen it done through like a game. There's been variations I've seen on like apps on the phone. There's been variations I've seen on the like PC. Although the one that's done on PC is more like a point and click visual novel, essentially. Not like something that you can purposely choose to get different endings. Time travel. Time travel. Isn't this the same thing as like time loops? I guess. I don't know if ever there would ever be a thing with time travel. Unless it's like, I get sent back to the past to redo all my past mistakes. That's the only thing I would ever see it being done in, but I don't know. I don't read much time travel. Touch starved. Oh, me. Occasionally. I think it can be nice. I think it can be nice with like hurt comfort or like fluff. Unhappy ending, I don't like that. What is this? Major character death, hurt no comfort, unhappy ending, angst. No. Not in my fix. Western AU. What the hell is a Western AU? I don't think I've ever read anything with a Western AU. Let me so real. Nothing like the whole, sheriff, Macama, what are you doing in my town? Stuff like that. I don't think I've ever read anything with it. I'm thinking kind of like Digimon Time Stranger does, where it's like the character sees the end of the world and sent back to fix it. Ooh. What I was thinking of is like the whole Ghost Trick Detective, where he's like dead and you go back in time to try to like prevent people's deaths kind of stuff. Or yeah, that too. Or like the whole the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game collab, that type of like that story, or the Professor Layton Unwound Future type story, but that wasn't actually time travel. They just thought they were in the past. But that one was actually done really well. Also, spoilers for people who have never played the game, but it's so good. Play Professor Layton. Play Professor Layton Unwound Future. Play the Professor Layton Ace Attorney collab on the 3DS. It's so good. The storylines, the way it's written, oh, I love it. They're so well written. They're so good. The whole concept of like, I built an entire town just for you. Also, I saw a game that's like that recently. It's called Easy Delivery Co. You find out, well, spoilers for that game, but you find out that all the characters are robots. I don't know why they're robots. They were just kind of built as a part of some kind of experiment. But all the shopkeepers in the store, in the village, in the areas, in the neighboring cities, they're all robots. And you have the choice to either reboot them, make them forget everything but they're reset to keep doing what they're doing, to shut them down permanently, or to I guess, bring them back to reset everything. So you can either like leave them be, reset it, or just shut them down forever. And it's really cute. It's a really interesting story. You're like, you play a little cat. But yeah, that's the game. Also, this is the end of my really long yap about fanfic trope. Although not even just in general fanfic, but just general media / fantasy tropes in general. Let me try to get it all on one screen. Hold up. Let me see. Scenes. Backgrounds. There we go. Now we can see the whole screen. Okay. My eyeballs are getting so dry. Let me scoot this over. Okay. Here is the final list. I think, does it all fit? Yes, it does. Here is the whole fic. We can, take a picture, I guess. I don't know. I'll take a picture. Let me take a screenshot. There we go. And that is it. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to go to bed now. It's like 2:30 a.m. and my eyeballs are super dry. Oops. I realized you guys couldn't hear me. I said, welcome to the void. Hello. And then I'm like, oh wait. There's no microphone source in that thing. Yeah, oops. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by. It's been nice yapping about my favorite fanfic tropes. I know my tastes are a little bit odd, a little bit different, but I like fantasy, what can I say? I love fantasy. As someone who knows next to nothing about the world of fanfiction, I learned a lot of new terms today, I guess. Good night. Oh, you're not even in the half of it. These are all normal AU fics tags. These are all just general story plots. You haven't even gone to the tags of all the PWP plots taglines. There are so many. There's so many PWP plotlines. Oh my god. Even the tags. Kinktober, the tags for Kinktober are crazy. Oh my god. Not that I read Kinktober fanfics or anything. No. Let me post this here. Actually? Yo, is innocent? Yeah, I don't read that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. You'll learn eventually. As somebody who generally doesn't really know a lot of tags, can you imagine my reaction when I said to somebody, name sports that involve water that start with a W, and I said, I love waterboarding. I said, wow, my favorite sport that involves waterboarding. Because in my mind, waterboarding is the thing you do when you take a floaty and you put it along the beach and you drop it on the ground when the wave comes in and you run along the edge of the shore, you put the board down and you glide along the edge of the wave. That's waterboarding to me. Maybe it has a different name. I don't know. Paddleboarding? I don't know what it's called. But that's what I called it. And they were like, what do you mean waterboarding? And I said, you know, the thing that you do when you're at the beach with a kickboard. And they're like, no. You know what waterboarding is, right? And I said, no. And they said, that's a torture thing. And I said, oh. Anyways, good night everybody. Thank you all for stopping by. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Good night. Thank you all for stopping by. This is fun. I will see you guys all on Friday. Bye. Bye bye. Happy early Halloween. Wait. Sleep well, yeah.